Welcome to the deep dive. Today we are undertaking a very specific mission. It's one that really cuts through all the noise about passion projects and, garage tinkering.
Hmm.
We are diving deep into how you find profitable business opportunities.
Right.
We're basically tearing apart that conventional wisdom that says you should just build what you love. Instead, we're looking at a stack of sources that give you what feels like the ultimate shortcut.
It is. It's a methodology for finding where customers are already, desperate to spend their money.
That's the critical pivot right there.
Yeah, our sources provide this clear, almost brutally honest, step-by-step process. It's all designed to dismantle that seductive founder-first mentality.
The idea that you
Yeah.
build something because you're passionate about it.
Exactly. And you replace it with a really hard-nosed, practical, customer-first approach.
Exactly. And our goal in this deep dive is to equip you with the knowledge to validate an idea, to prove it's profitable, often before you spend a single dollar on, development or anything.
And the core insight we're synthesizing, really, is that the most valuable input for your business isn't your brilliant idea.
Yeah.
It's not your passion. It's the hard, undeniable data that's locked away in the customer's wallet. What's fascinating here is this central tension we see playing out over and over in these case studies.
What's that?
The huge difference between a great idea and a viable, scalable business model.
Yeah.
An idea might feel good, it gets you excited, but if you haven't checked that there's a big enough group of paying customers, well, the source material explicitly warns that building it is, and I quote, deadly to your time and your capital.
So let's unpack this. There's a fantastic cautionary tale that really kicks off this entire philosophy.
Oh, yeah.
We start with the financial crater left by a company called Bait Arcade. So the founders, they looked at the landscape. They saw this massive trend of fantasy sports and online betting.
A pretty surefire bet, you'd think.
They assumed they had a great idea. Funnel players from their Facebook app to a dedicated monetized betting site.
And this is the textbook founder-first mistake, right there. They saw a trend, they felt confident in their own ability to build it,
Right.
and they skipped straight over validation and went right to the build phase.
And they went big. We're talking 6 months paying programmers, dropping about $100,000.
Wow. $100,000.
And another $10,000 just on lawyers to make sure all the regulatory stuff for online gambling was clean. They launched this beautiful, really well-engineered site. And what was the result?
Let me guess.
The founder describes it perfectly. He just says, no one came.
Oof.
It was a magnificent failure, built entirely on an assumption.
But that failure, that was their great teacher.
Right.
Facing that huge financial loss, that desperation, they finally asked the right question.
The critical business question.
Exactly. What was our biggest and most constant internal problem? Did other people in our network share it? And could we quickly create a solution to that shared pain?
And what was that constant burning frustration for them? It was their payments provider, a company called OfferPal. They were just getting hammered by these 50% commissions on every single transaction. And on top of that, OfferPal was treating its smaller users, like them, with complete indifference. They ignored every feature request.
So they had this beautiful car, but the fuel was bankrupting them. They realized their pain wasn't unique to them. Every other game owner trying to monetize on social platforms felt the same way.
They stumbled onto a real problem.
A problem that customers were actively, desperately trying to solve. So they performed a classic pivot.
And the speed of this pivot is so key here. They built a minimum viable product, a beta version of a new payment service called Gambit, in a single weekend. And within 2 weeks, the full, simplified service was up and running.
And the success was just immediate. It had to be, because they focused entirely on the customer's pain. They instantly made their friends who own these Facebook games 20% more money.
How?
Just by charging lower, more reasonable commissions, and crucially, making a real promise to actually listen to their users.
The results, they speak for themselves. In that first year, that Gambit pivot generated over $15 million in top-line revenue.
Wow.
The lesson is so concrete. You should not dedicate your time or your money to an idea until you know with 100% certainty that it solves a problem customers will pay for right now.
Customers don't want ideas. They want painkillers.
Yeah.
And that brings us to, formally defining this customer-first approach.
Right, which is the cornerstone of this whole deep dive.
It means putting the customer first, not just before the product, but even before you fully solidify the idea. You're selling a solution. not a vision.
My favorite example that shows the cost of doing the opposite is this Disney story.
Oh, this one's painful.
So a founder thinks he struck gold. He gets a verbal agreement from a decision maker at Disney to use an expanded version of his payment software. He's so sure of this brilliant idea that he dedicates 6 months and $100,000 to building it.
He was just completely seduced by the potential, but he didn't get a real contractual commitment. He didn't get any payment up front.
And the reality just hit hard. Disney looked at the finished product, said it was great, but then admitted, we don't need it right away. He got ghosted.
6 months and $100,000 just gone, evaporated.
Because he focused on assumption and excitement, not validated, immediate demand.
And that is exactly why the customer-first approach exists. It's designed to prevent that exact kind of waste. It forces you to nail what our sources call the 3 W's of business right from the start.
Okay, what are they?
Well, 1, who you are selling to. You have to identify that specific narrow group of people who are feeling the pain.
Right. And 2, what problem you are solving. It has to be acute, not just a nice to have.
And 3, where they are. This is the crucial step. The Bait Arcade guys nailed this. They knew exactly where their target audience, other Facebook game developers, was hanging out and talking about their pain.
You have to prioritize accessing that group above everything else.
This is where we run into a really interesting psychological barrier, though. Why do so many entrepreneurs just default to building in secret? Well, it's scary, right? Talking to customers and asking for money before you have a product is terrifying.
Let's use the simple dog walking app analogy here to contrast the 2 mindsets.
Okay, so the entrepreneur, the founder first type, spends hours agonizing over a name, spends $100 on a logo, registers an LLC, buys the domain.
All the busy work.
All the busy work. Then starts looking into hiring a developer, sees the massive cost, and then just quietly abandons the whole dream. Never once talks to a customer.
The customer-first entrepreneur, though, ignores all that. They just pick up the phone or knock on doors and call 3 people they know who have dogs, and they ask them, will you pay me to walk your dog next Tuesday?
And what do they find out?
They find out immediately that dog walking isn't the real struggle. The real pain point is finding reliable dog sitters when they have to travel for work.
And because that problem is acute, it's a must-solve painkiller. The entrepreneur can immediately ask, when's your next trip? I can handle that for $150.
And they secure a $50 deposit on the spot. Real revenue. A validated business opportunity, which is dog sitting, not walking, before they've written a single line of code.
That is the power of validation. The goal, as the sources stated, is to sell your idea to a small group of early adopters before you've built the product.
It's the ultimate shortcut. You repeat that process, fast and cheap, until you get paid.
Which brings us to AppSumo, another perfect example of building cheap and fast based on validated demand.
Right. The inspiration for that came from seeing the success of McHeist, which sold software bundles. The founder realized that model solved the #1 pain point for software companies.
Customer acquisition.
Exactly. So his idea became Groupon for Yeeks, focusing on non-Mac software.
But wait, let's inject a little friction here. It wasn't that effortless, was it? He still needed some kind of leverage to get that first deal off the ground.
Absolutely. And this is where networking and just being resourceful replaces spending money. He wasn't some unknown founder. He knew he needed momentum.
So he targeted a specific community.
A massive one, the image sharing community on Reddit, and he focused on Imgur Pro subscriptions.
So he cold emailed Imgur's creator, Alan Schaff, and promised to sell 200 subscriptions for them, solving their acquisition problem. Then he leveraged his network, cold emailing Chris Slow, Reddit's founding engineer.
And asked for free advertising on the platform. I mean, that's a masterclass in using influence instead of money.
And the result is the key validation detail. The total time to build the original AppSumo.com site. A shocking 48 hours. He found a developer for $12 an hour just to add a simple PayPal button to a basic web page.
Total cost.
$50.
$50. No complex code, no legal structure, just a way to take money for a validated solution. And that first dollar, that initial sale, is the psychological milestone that changes everything.
Right. The ads went live on Reddit and the first sale came in within minutes. Getting from $0 to $1 isn't about the money.
No, it's about proving external validation. It shifts your identity from dreamer to business owner. That momentum is just priceless.
To find those opportunities, you have to become what the sources call a problem seeker. No. The best entrepreneurs are, simply put, the most dissatisfied. Your own daily frustrations are genuine gold mines.
We're talking about selling a painkiller, a must-have solution that removes pain, versus a vitamin, which is a nice-to-have that people cut when budgets get tight.
And you have to generate these ideas within your zone of influence, your existing networks, your communities, places you already spend your time.
So you aren't starting from scratch. We've got 4 powerful challenges for you to generate profitable ideas.
Challenge 1. Solve your own problems.
Yeah.
This is often the most genuine place to start. Think about Shane Heath, the creator of Mud Which You Are. He loved coffee but hated the jitters and the crash.
That tiny personal irritation
Led him to create a mushroom-based coffee replacement. And that little frustration is now making over $60 million a year.
Wow.
So list your own irritations. Finding a reliable house cleaner, getting a quick, healthy breakfast, whatever it is.
Okay, challenge 2. Best sellers are your best friends. Don't reinvent the wheel. Look at products already selling millions, iPhones, Teslas, popular software. Your business isn't the core product.
Right. It's the services or accessories around them. Think about companies that teach people how to use their new MacBooks, or services that customize popular shoes. You're selling to people who've already proven they'll spend money in that category.
Challenge 3. Marketplaces. This is so critical. These are places where customers are already actively trying to spend money.
Like Craigslist gigs or Upwork. Look for frequent, repeated requests, assistant babysitter needed, freelance writer wanted. People are shouting, "I have cash, please solve my problem."
And finally, challenge 4. Search engine queries. We live in an age where people confess their deepest problems to Google and Reddit.
Just search for problem phrases. How do I fix? Or best way to prevent? Or even something quirky like, how do I train my cat to use a toilet? If thousands of people are searching for a solution, it's so much easier to sell them one.
Once you have that list of ideas, you have to verify them against the market. This is where we get the surfer and the wave analogy.
Exactly. The product is the surfboard. It's replaceable. But the market is the wave. And the size and momentum of the wave is what matters most. Your job is not to create demand. It's to find an existing powerful wave of demand and ride it.
And we're not just talking about huge tech waves. Take the perfect non-tech example of Robert Samuel's Same Old Line Dudes in New York. Back in 2012, he saw the chaos around a new iPhone release and wondered if anyone would pay him to wait in line. So he put a simple ad on Craigslist to validate the idea.
And that simple action worked. His first gig was a 15-hour stint that paid him $325. That was his wave.
Today, that business generates over $80,000 a year for him, employing dozens of people to wait in line for everything from sneakers to the DMV. The demand was already there.
So how do we quickly check if our problem is a $1 million opportunity? You need to ask 2 key questions. First, is the market dying, flat, or growing? You want flat or growing.
And second, is the market size big enough to feasibly hit $1 million in revenue?
And we can use simple free tools for this. Google Trends is your best friend. Don't just search for your product name. Compare related terms like beard grooming versus razor. Look at the data over 5 years.
And then you can use something like Facebook ads. You don't even have to run the ad to approximate the audience size.
Right. You set up a dummy campaign, and Facebook will tell you how many people in, say, the US are interested in a specific category.
For example, a quick search might show 16 to 19 million people interested in beards, but 2.5 million specifically interested in beard oil.
And that data leads right to the simple math for viability. Let's use that beard oil example. We take the audience size, 2.5 million people, and multiply it by a conservative product cost, say $50.
The resulting total market value is $125 million.
That's a huge wave. Yes, that is absolutely worth pursuing. Now compare that to, I don't know, a monthly Vietnamese pho broth subscription.
Yeah.
The total market might only be $20,000.
You instantly know where to focus your resources. This process saves you months of wasted effort.
And once you've verified that wave, you apply the 1-minute business model for initial pricing. Revenue minus cost equals profit. That's all you need at first.
Let's look at the sumo jerky challenge. The founder gave himself 24 hours to make $1,000 in profit from a jerky product. His initial model was selling 1 bag for $20 with a cost of $15. That's a $5 profit.
He quickly calculated that to hit his goal, he'd need 200 individual sales in 24 hours. For a brand new product with 0 marketing, that's a huge hurdle.
And that anxiety forced the pivot. That moment when the math doesn't work is so valuable.
The pivot was brilliant. He shifted from selling single bags to individuals to selling 6-month corporate subscriptions to businesses for their office snacks.
So by selling a $120 subscription with a $90 cost, his profit per unit jumped to $30.
So now he only needed 33 sales to hit his $1,000 target, not 200. Instantly more doable. He didn't change the product, he changed the customer and the model.
This just shows the power of tweaking those 6 revenue dials that can pivot a model fast. You can increase the average order value, you can increase frequency. It's better to be in the reorder business.
Right. You can tweak the price point, target a wealthier customer, add complementary products, or add-on services.
Let's take that add-on service dial.
Yeah.
If you run a small cookie business, you can sell cookies for 25 bucks. But if you realize your customers struggle with parties, you can add an event setup service for $150.
You didn't invent a new product, you just maximized the revenue from your existing customers.
The ultimate value of this whole process checking, market size, calculating sales, tweaking the dials, is the time it saves you.
Absolutely. If the math tells you upfront that you need to sell 80,000 units of beard oil to hit $1 million, and you know you don't have that reach, well, the process saved you years pursuing a low-potential idea.
You are putting in the vital reps of market assessment and validation before you invest emotionally or financially.
And nearly every successful business we've talked about, from AppSumo to Gambit, had to pivot. The process of fast, cheap iteration based on customer feedback is the real key.
So as you walk away from this deep dive, take this core philosophy with you. Stop chasing perfection. Stop writing a 1,000-page business plan. Focus on that uncomfortable but totally necessary conversation with your potential customers. Find the specific acute painkiller problem and validate that they will pay for a minimal solution before you ever start to build.
And here's the final thought for you to mull over. The human impulse is always to retreat and build in secret, right? To avoid the discomfort and potential rejection of actually asking for money.
Right.
So if you're constantly finding excuses to do more research or refine your logo or write more plans before you take a deposit from a real customer, are you truly building a business, or are you just delaying that inevitable and vital customer conversation?